Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a show that is about to change everything you think you know. Welcome to Jacob's Ladder. I am your host, Jacob Israel, and I'm glad that you're here. Usually, I would be more goofy. Today, I'll probably still be a little goofy because we're going to talk about some things that seem a little goofy. But the scriptures say very clearly that we are in a spiritual war. That's right, war. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, powers, and rulers of darkness. And we got a lot of dark maga going on. Take a look at this thumbnail. Tells a story, and I hope that you can see it. Because after today's show, everything that you think you're watching and you're hearing about on your X feed and on your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed or whatever, you're being fed, right? In your little cell. Your little cell phone. A spell's been cast. A wicked spirit spread its wings, and mankind has become its prisoner. It's in my novel. Go figure that today we're actually there. Spellbound. And there's the spellbinder himself. Everyone's talking about the binder. Now, I got to thank an Israelite out there, Walrus. The Walrus. Man of God. He always sends me some interesting things. Things that I don't even want to look into. But then he's a little persistent. And man, did it open up the floodgates. I hope that you can hear me okay. I hope everything's doing well. We got a lot of people here already. You know what that means. Give me a point, hit the like, give me 10 points, leave a comment, make sure you share it around. Going to get into this. Because there's a big thing going on right now. I don't know if you know it. Do you know anything about witchcraft and sorcery? You probably, if you're like a person that's into the Bible, you've probably heard the stories of how Moses did battle with the sorcerers. A lot of plagues came on Egypt. A lot of them that the sorcerers could even mimic. There were a couple of them that they couldn't. Today there's a battle going on, a secret battle, a secret occult spiritual battle. And I'm on the sidelines. We're just witnesses, right? That's what we do because we've been marked off for this crazy time. God's got us. We got nothing to worry about in the midst of the storm. If you have a repentant heart, you're going to love what I'm going to share today. If you're a wicked person, you're probably not watching anyway. A lot of weirdness going on. You see, witches and warlocks and all of that sorcery stuff, you probably saw the stuff on, movies in the past. Well, they like astrological events. They like things to coincide with their spells. When you say words, you can manipulate somebody with your words. You can cast a spell on someone. The scriptures say that out of your mouth, you have life and death that you can choose to curse or to bless. On this channel, one of the things that I do is I try to get you to bless your life, to not say the worst, to not think the worst. We're being lied to on such a massive scale, and it's so comical. And we got to get to the bottom of it. Because all the news has been about the binders that had on it the most transparent administration in history. And in the binder, it was nothing but blacked out. It was nothing new. It's funny that it happened on such an interesting thing. The only thing new about it was the fact that it happened on a new moon. Thank you, Amber Madison. 1111 is going to come in handy. You're going to like that super chat. Thank you. And by the way, if you super chat, I appreciate it. If I miss you, go to the comments and send me an email, and I'll thank you personally. Appreciate it. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. There's a parade of planets that just went down. It was all happening. When they released the binder, where they all came out, wait till you see how this all unfolds. I'm going to pull the curtain back. Get tired of seeing good people be taken advantage of and lied to. Then they start to celebrate people that are, not exactly for us, but against us. But God's got us. And there's a parade of planets going on right now, 7 planets. Now this, very rare, barely happens at all. I mean, one article that I read about this parade of planets that's happening at the same time that we had all the madness with the list that amounted to nothing. everybody blaming things, but they're saying things. Here's the thing. When you're going to curse someone, you're going to speak it out. They say it to your face, and you're like, oh, and you assume they're talking about other people. You assume that. You know what they say about people when they assume? They make a Uranus out of you and me. That's what happens. I think after today's show, you're going to probably look at things a little bit differently. But this planetary alignment, okay, happens. Same time, we got the new moon. The new moon, by the way, if you don't know, a new moon is, it's the first phase, the very first phase in a moon cycle. That's why you probably get a kick out of the fact that they were revealing in their dark MAGA hat, and we know what MAGA means. The Magi were the ones that went to Jesus, okay? They're good wizards, they're evil wizards. But they like to do their magic at times like this. A new moon, for example. A new moon phase, the very first, phase 1. And they reveal this. Interesting. Gets a lot more interesting. This is why I want you to do me a favor, okay? I've never been so excited about a show than this one. I've never felt so on fire about a show than this one. I feel like it's a change. I feel like I got a little more clarity on what's going on. We're going to take you behind the scenes. We're going to take you behind. Now, listen, of course, I'm a writer. So let's just, as you see in the description, it says merely speculation. I'm just a speculator. I'm just taking what I got and I'm saying this might happen next. Guess what? Today's show, you're going to find that a lot of the stuff that I said might happen, has happened. Why do you think that is? Well, Moses had a better staff that ate up the other sorcerer's staffs. So they would reveal something, but Moses, his, turned into a snake that gobbled it all up. You know, in some cultures, you would think that prophets were like wizards or sorcerers or everything else. In the Knights Templar, which we're going to talk about them today, they're magicians. Okay? They're magicians. So if you think that the best way to get people to comply would be to beat them and whip them and all that stuff, no. It's to get them to worship them and to slowly but surely become so dependent on whatever they have that you don't even care what you get because you think it's being done for your good. And it is being done for your good. That's the good news. This planetary alignment happens at the same time that there was a binding spell, perhaps. Well, we were spellbound by the binders. Now, that's the walrus, by the way. You should follow him on X. Man, this sent me down. I mean, I've been nonstop with this. I probably got about 5 hours of sleep thinking about this. Another 1111 super chat. God is good. Thank you. Victim Prevention Project. All right. So there's like one of the first influencers that came out. I don't know her name. All right. She kind of looks a little witchy, don't you think? Right? Don't you think? With the dark MAGA hat under the new moon. And yes, it was a new moon, February 27th. And if you see off to the side, if you ask Grok, who, by the way, is probably the wizard behind the scenes, is probably Grok. We're going to get there too. But new moons are like great for beginning, setting intentions, starting new projects. If a witch wants to cast a spell for personal growth or for a fresh start, this is the go-to phase. A dark moon, same thing. Night before the new moon. Thank you, Ellen, for the super chat. I appreciate that. The dark moon, some traditions use for deep introspection. Super secretive, intense magic, though it's less common, takes place at this time. The dark moon. The new moon, phase 1, the first phase of the moon, and they come out with binders. All of them had the MAGA hats and the dark MAGA hats. Even AI took that picture, turned it into a little bit of a dance. You probably saw it if you're following me on X, and if you're not, you should. It's at Jacob Israel 71. But let me read to you what a binding spell is. Let me just see if I can blow it up because I'll tell you, I got to go get my eyes checked. Things are not what they used to be. It's so wild. I actually called yesterday. I don't know what's going on. I think we're just in an alternate reality. Maybe we're in the Phantom Zone. You know who discovered that? Jor-El. You know who Jor-El is? That's Superman's father. You know Lex Luthor just died. I'm going to get there. Wait a minute. Please, if there was ever a show to say, you got to watch this show. You have to help me, please. I'm asking you. All right? A binding spell. This is best performed when? Well, it tells you right there at the dark moon. That's the best time. And then it tells you how to do it. It says you light a candle, you do this, you do that. But think about what's really happening. On that binder, by the way, it read, let me see if I can pull it up. I'm going to make this image a little bit bigger so that you can actually see how it's reversed. That's right. That witchy woman reversed the image. Yeah, so that whole video you were watching, it was reversed. A mirror world, a bizarro world, bizarro Superman. Did shows about bizarro Superman. I told you we were going to enter into some kind of a reality that isn't reality anymore. We're in it. You feel it, right? Time's moving a lot faster. You feel a little more stressed. That's right. God's going to break us free. God's going to break us free. And how do you do it? The truth. The truth sets you free, my friends. So they may have. Of course, it could just be a binder with the words, the most transparent, administration in history, even though everything was completely redacted. Maybe they really had our best interest in mind. Maybe they were really going to do it. Of course, these were the influencers, all with the MAGA hats. They all kind of look like Harry Potter. When you look at them all together, that one tall guy with the long hair, everybody says, oh, I think he's like, I don't really care about his sexuality, but I think it was like big news, this tall guy. He looks like a wizard. He's the one that helped Trump win Pennsylvania. If you take a look at the thumbnail, just so you know, because I take a lot of time on that, in the background, I put little witches' hats on them. I don't know if you can see. I'm such a child, right? I'm a meatball. What are you going to do? A meatball who has got a little bit of insight. I got to tell you, I think the Lord's given me a little bit of insight. Now, why? Because I think I ask. I don't think a lot of people ask. But let me tell you, after Pam Bondi, you know what a bond is? You know what to bind is? Whew. After she said, oh, I've seen it, it's on my desk, and oh, it's going to be something. It's on her desk, so. And then they give that, and it turned out it's like nothing. And then it's like, she's like, oh, this is so bad. News starts breaking. They were setting the intentions. Okay? This is like the walrus put. He said to me, it's going to be like a brainwash. I'm going to try to get you to, poof. And I see how they did it, too. It's all wrestling. Is it not? Is it not? Isn't it strange that the Lord's, put me at the WWE? Back in the day, making $75,000. It was weird I was placed there. Now I'm over here. Just a lot like WWE. All right, but it's a new moon. During the first new moon, Trump's DOJ publicly releases phase 1 on the first phase of the moon. Nothing coinky-dinky-do there, though, right? I mean, right? We got like a lot of people here. Do me a favor. Will you hit the like? Will you do me a favor? I appreciate it. Let's get more people here. It's like a Saturday, Phase 1. Phase 1. So you know what else? There are other phases that come. Do you know the moon? I believe, if I'm correct, you got to tell me because I'm not an astrology major. If that's a major, I don't know. Maybe it is at some school. I know astronomy is. But I'm not into the old astrology. But I think it's in Pisces. And I think, don't quote me on this. I may sound like a meatball. I am. I think it's the last sign. I think it's the last. You got to tell me. I'm looking right here. Anybody know? Ashley, Kay, lower class, Jude, Rock, you there? Dan, Ellis. Hey, I blew the horn, Dan. Dan's going to come on my show, by the way. He shared some stuff with me. You want to talk about being brought through? Maybe we're in a simulation. I always tell people don't get freaked out. If anything, that should encourage your faith even more. Because Jesus said, I'm in the world, I'm not of the world. When I play the VR game where I go with the bow and arrow, I'm in the world, but I'm not of that world. I'm like booted in. Just like we're going to go home, right? Jesus said, this is not my home. This is not my kingdom. If it was my kingdom, I'd have people come over and fight to set me free. But this isn't my kingdom. I'm not from this world, a world where I'd have to have people come fight. I'm a free man. So here's the thing. The very first influencer, and this is where the show gets eerie, okay? This is eerie. Do you know who Liz Wheeler is? She's like an influencer, okay? And she put this out and Elon reposted it. You know how he does, right? You're going to see a lot of stuff that Elon has done and even Trump has done. You're going to see instances of things that happened. I said we're going to happen in a roundabout way and confirmed it like 11-something-22 ago. You're going to see 11:22 is going to be a big thing in this show. I wanted to do the show at 11:22, but I couldn't get it all done. So Liz Wheeler puts this out. Elon reposts it. This is the story. President Trump. Now, let's for a second speculate that they were performing a spell, right? Propaganda, a psyop. That's what it is. That's what a spell is. Magicians today would be called psyop behavioral specialists, like Tulsi was. She was in charge of that. Yeah, isn't that interesting? The psychological operation department, she was in charge. She's the national head. Smart. Wonder Woman, right? It's all about Justice League. You're going to see. It's crazy. All right. So Liz Wheeler writes, this is the story. President Trump and Bondi committed to releasing the files. The FBI was told to deliver the files to Bondi. They did, about 200 pages. But Bondi smelled a rat. I mean, it's like even the scripting of it is ridiculous. Bondi smelled a rat because there was nothing juicy in those 200 pages, even though she said, oh, when you see, and other people have seen, I've seen, right? Do you remember? No, you forgot. Why'd you forget? Phase 1. We're going to bind you. We're going to bind you. We're not going to loose you and set you free. Binding spell. A binder. Spell binder. Ooh, it was weird. Now listen. Now with that in mind, I'm not saying that's what happened. What do I know, right? I think it happened. I got to be honest. I think it happened. I'm not joking. I really do. I think that they're like sorcerers in a roundabout way. You know, maybe they consider themselves prophets. Okay, whatever. You know, I'll just consider myself a witness of God like you. And if you want, you can get yourself some of the merch. Just go into the description of the video. Support the channel if you like it. You could do that. You could do that. Yeah. Yeah, you could do that right there. All right, so let me read this to you now, keeping in mind that the binder could have been some kind of a spell or something along those lines, okay? Bondi smelled a rat because there was nothing juicy in those 200 pages. Still, Bondi promised to release the documents. So she prepared a binder. She prepared a binder of them. Then last night, a whistleblower connected Bondi. Thank you, Rudy McGraw, for the super chat. Oh my goodness, today I love all of you so much. So grateful. So, last night, a whistleblower contacted Bondi and revealed that they were hiding thousands of files. Guess where? New York, right? We're talking about recordings and evidence, the juicy stuff, the names, right? Because this isn't about literal lives, everybody. This isn't about young children and people being abused horribly. We want the juicy stuff. We're going to grab we got the files. Oh, look at us. Oh, look at us. Yes, we got them. We got them. Good. And then they all put out the same exact post. Say it enough times, you start to believe it. Woo! That's what they're doing. Maybe, maybe not. You know, you figure it out. These swamp creatures deceived Bondi, Cash, and you. Head of the FBI the head of the legal team, they were deceived. I thought it was on their desk and they looked at it and saw it. All right, now let's read this again. Now remember, what if the word the binder is a spell? Now, listen to it with new ears, okay? Because they like to tell us these things. It's going to get freakier as the show goes. You need to be outraged that the binder is boring. You should be outraged that the binder is boring. Their spell's boring. You should be outraged. They're telling you to be outraged. You should be, because the evil deep state lied to your face. Hang on. I think Pam Bondi, to my face, said that she had it on her desk. And is it just me? I don't know. I didn't meet anybody from the deep state. The deep state didn't come take the camera and say, we're the deep state and we're gonna release everything and give you nothing. No, it was who lied to our face. I'm not saying if she had it on her desk and everything was there and it was freaky and it was terrible. What happened? Thank you for the super chat. Next it says a new moon is best time to start seeds. Thank you very much, because once again, all of this is happening for our good. So it's like we don't want to categorize everybody as evil, the people they're protecting, for whatever reason. We don't know why these things are happening. We don't really know. But I'm telling you, there's some funny business going on. Some Wizard of Oz funny business going on. The binder, listen to her. This is so weird. Like, who talks like this? Be outraged. The binder is boring. You should be. The evil deep state lied to your face. The binder is powerful. The binder is powerful? What? Unless it's a powerful binding spell that's boring. It's powerful because it's tangible physical evidence of their disgusting stunt. Did you hear what Liz Wheeler just said? The binder is powerful because of this disgusting stunt that they were a part of. It was their stunt. The binder is powerful. You see how the binder spell is gone once you understand what she's saying. Maybe Rudy McGraw, thank you for the super chat. Maybe Rudy, maybe they're talking about themselves. The binder. You are the media. Elon said it. Yes, we are. So celebrate the regular people are being given access to the most powerful people in the country to report on despicable corruption, and it's being uncovered in real time. That's a flat out lie. It's not being uncovered in real time. Nothing was uncovered. I don't care how boring and powerful the binder was, there was nothing in it. Nothing that we didn't know. I knew more than they knew. I knew more than they knew. Don't you get tired of this nonsense? These wizards, these sorcerers. I'm coming in there with the YouTube channel. I'm throwing it down. I'm going to eat up all your snakes. We're going to eat up all their snakes. They don't even get it. The spell. Pff. What spell? It's only if you're asleep. But they have a problem with the woke virus. They don't want anybody awake, do they? They're going to destroy the woke. They're going to destroy it. How do they do it? Casting spells on new moons when the planets are all lined up. Maybe. Once again, I'm a writer. I don't know. Amber's saying teach us the truth no matter what the cost. That's a shirt too. You could get that in the description of the video. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. Teach us the truth, Lord. If it's meant to be, it's going to be. We're going to know if it's a binding spell or not. We're going to see if they're sincere. How about that? If they really care. Let's take a look at some of their posts. Oh, that's right. the most transparent administration in American history. D.C. Drano, Jack Poso, Navy intelligence officer, Jack Poso. He's in military intelligence. Yeah, they're normal people are revealing it. Okie dokie, Smokey. The most transparent administration in history. The most transparent administration in history. By the way, I would like to say it's 1:11 Eastern Standard Time. If you just got here, you got to go back and watch from the beginning, but stick with me. This is where the show just gets bonkers. Take a look at all this stuff. Most transparent, and then there's a picture of the redacted copy. No new revelations at all. Nothing. Now, here's weird, okay? This one guy, I don't know what his name is, Prather, whatever. People were, saying, oh, look at this. Why are you all copying each other? Oh, how lazy or whatever. And so this guy says, this is where it gets really dark, okay, and deep and weird. Just weird. This guy writes, so to be clear, that's the upper left-hand corner. Yes, I copied and pasted D.C. Drano's statement with the intention of it being used as a quote. There was no messaging. So in other words, they weren't told what to say. I'm just now realizing that the quote and edit, he said, my fault 100%. I just copied DC Drano. Okay. But he didn't. His post was posted, like community notes came in. His post was posted 13 minutes. 13. You know what 13 is? 13 months. It's 1 year and 1 month. 13. The devil number. The death number, I should say. I don't want to say the devil number, okay? It's like spooky number, 13, Judas was like the 13th, okay? In some mythology, the 13th guest was Loki. He ends up killing Boulder. There's a lot of religions. 13's like not so great. 13 minutes. A binding spell. And there's the binder. Tell them it a bunch of times and maybe people will believe you ultimately. Or maybe you just need to be told by somebody else who has something that God gave them to throw down that can swallow up all their lies. You think these people are for you with their millions of views? I lose subs all the time. My wife says, don't say it. Maybe you recreate it. I don't really care at this point. Especially after this show. You think these millionaires are everyday people? Ooh, with the binder. On the new moon, phase 1. Probably all doing like all sorts of rituals behind the scenes. All their Knights Templar stuff. They'll probably wear robes. Maybe. I don't know. I just like to have a little bit of fun. Remember, this is just entertainment purposes only, folks. Okay? A binding spell is one that is best performed on a new moon. Probably helps that you got all the planets in a parade. So what do you think? Do you think that, should we read again what Pam Bondi said? How about Liz Wither? You should be angry. You should be outraged that the binder is boring. The binder is powerful because it's tangible evidence of a disgusting stunt. Let me show you this disgusting stunt. They're telling you. I hope you're like seeing things with a new eye. All right? They're telling you. They're poster identical. They're telling you. These chooches. All right, let me show you these chooches. Okay, now AI took it, and AI just, took over and went crazy. So let me just make sure that I am transferred over, which I am. And let's just play this for you. Now, this is actually also part of a song that I wrote. And I think that you'll like it. But you're going to see. So I take this, Rhonda Peterson's here just in time for the incredible display of despicable being taken advantage of by the deep state. Thank you, Rhonda, for the super chat. All right, so here we go.
I look into the eyes of that which I despised. and saw the thing I feared the most. Walking in darkness, clawing, fighting, backbiting, tearing down each other for happiness and never getting close. I looked into the eyes of that which I despised, the same as staring down a ghost. The whole world has gone astray. Past are the days of children at play. They are lost, I must say. I looked into the eyes of that which I despised and found myself alone.
I mean, that's something, don't you think? AI turned that into something. But you remember that dance? That's the dance. Remember the dance? We were also, and everybody's like, oh, they're going to discount it because it's AI. Like if they really did it, then people would say, oh, you have something to say. But it still went viral. Still went viral. It's the dance of Kali. It's the dance of destruction. It's, the witches, they dance. They do their little dances. I do the dancing at the gym. They do the dances, nude with under the new moon. And thank you, by the way, Lisa Gordon's here. What's up, Lisa? Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Rudy McGraw, for the super chat. I think you all kind of feel the significance of this video, and I'm asking you to please share it. Please tell people to wake up. Just say it. Say this will wake you up. Because we're going to get to why they're doing these things. But a lot of weird things happened on that day. Gene Hackman died. It's just, this whole thing is going to get nuts. You want to talk about the AI turning it into dance? Well, let's just take a look, because I just talked about the Exodus, and I just talked about Moses, and kind of likened Elon to like Pharaoh. And I'm not saying Trump is Moses, by the way, but I'm saying that, the story is right there, and that's the story for us. God is leading us out through Moses. Moses, literally, the word Moses means to draw out. We're being drawn out. Wake up. Wake up. These millionaires that are repeating the same thing, they're having a good laugh. They're having a good laugh. Some of them put it behind a paywall. They were like thinking of putting it behind, I got the files. It's going to be released on my Patreon. Right? What? This is a new day. Told you the world was going to get bizarro. Got bizarro. We got wizards. Okay? This is something that you've known for a long time. I've been saying it for a long time. This is nothing new. Okay? So yeah, I had I just did that show. If you haven't seen it, The Exodus Begins. That's us exiting from this matrix that, by the way, Elon was just talking about. He made it out like we're already in it. The only thing that can be done, because we can't get out of it because we're in it, baloney. All right? God sends the spirit that cries, Abba, Father, into hell. If this is some kind of a matrix, which it is, right? You don't think God's going to send a spirit into this place, set us free? The Exodus has begun. We're going to be set free from their lies. We need to pray. Can't just be reactive. Got to get out of that lower form of thinking. We got to get out of the brainstem. We got to get out of the serpent brain, the snake that's hanging from the tree. So there above, you see the magicians of the temple. Those are the Knights Templar. You know that one of the people that were revealing the binding, the powerful binder on the new moon, they had the old Knights Templar tattoo that was going around. Now listen, I'm not into the 17th letter of the alphabet at all. All right. But I know a lot of you are. And I think it's cool because sometimes people send me stuff that I find interesting. I wish it would be a little more connected to like dates and stuff and a little more on the nose instead of like, just saying random stuff that you can twist into believing. I'd like my prophets to be a little more clear, if you know. But a lot of people are very much into this operation. And somebody sent this to me and said that because they were talking about the old wizards and kind can you tell us what the wizards and warlocks are? And he said, the guardians of intelligence. The guardians of intelligence. You know that in the Bible, in the garden, when man was kicked out of the garden, we started living outside of where we really were meant to be. Hey, Amber, thank you again. As Amber said, I said at the beginning of the show, spiritual wickedness, high places. We got a lot of high places. We got a lot of spiritual wickedness going on. We got magicians in the temple, magicians of the temple. Hey, take a look at that video right there. That's the two wizards. That's the dark wizard and the white wizard from the Amazon. If you separate the A from Mazon, Amazon, sorcerers, magicians of the temple. Well, the night on Amazon Prime that they met, the two sorcerers came together. I was watching that show while I was watching Butler. When Elon and Donald Trump came together on the stage, the white wizard and the dark, the regular MAGA, the red MAGA and the dark MAGA, when they got together and they shook hands, that's when it was on the screen. It was so weird. I put a post out about it. I actually made a whole video about it. And the video is called The AI Takeover is Complete. The whole world is under their spell. A binding spell is the kind of spell that we're talking about today. And there's the dark MAGA and the regular, I guess, diet MAGA. I don't know what you the regular MAGA with the most transparent binding with a seal. By the way, you know what a seal is? A seal? It's a sigil. A sigil. I don't know. Elementary witchcraft. You can basically put a little spell and you put it in a circle and you do all sorts of goofy things. I don't know. I'm not a witch. I don't need any of that hocus pocus. All I need to do is have faith. That's it. With faith, you could do anything. With God, you could do anything. So imagine you got God and faith at the same time. You know what'll happen? World leaders will be doing silly things. Silly things. Like, this is silly. This is silly. It was ridiculous watching, these goofballs. These like, I don't want to call them weirdos because they're not, I don't think they're like too predestined. But I'm going to call them like, I don't know. I wouldn't hang out with them. But we're under this spell, right? This Bizarro spell. That video had to do with Bizarro Superman. And guess who dies? Lex Luthor. This is all going to tie together. I'm going to play that clip for you right now. And I want you to just watch it because this is actually it's going to mean a lot soon. You see this right here? Wizards and prophets, MAGA and Magi. Let me spell it out for you. A spiritual battle is fought with words. It's a sword. Moses brought God's plagues to set people free, adversaries for our own good. The moment the dark wizard met the white wizard, yin yang, on Amazon Prime, God is doing something, people. All right, so here is the clip. And let me just make sure that I don't blow your ears out. And just take a listen. But it's true. 222 days before Elon declared he was dark MAGA, I said he was going to be a dark MAGA. I did. I put out a post. I'm like, why don't you come up with a new slogan? Why don't we have dark MAGA? And of course, look at the dates. That's all I am on the channel. That's all I do. I do a little speculating. I come on here. I borrow Ethan's shirt. He's 13, so I can, feel like a superhero when I come on here, especially if I'm going to have to do battle with humanoid robots that are going to take over the world. Before Elon came on with his cool little black hat and he says, I'm dark MAGA, I put the two of them together. But here's even weirder. In that same video, I talked about Bizarro Superman. Because at the time, there was a cartoon and Bizarro Superman had to go to an alternate reality. Like there was a flip. Here's weird. I'm recalling this video because, of course, of the two sorcerers coming together, Dark MAGA and MAGA, which, by the way, Invisidon, if you don't know him, he's very cool on X. You should check his out. He's very funny and very, very smart guy. He put out a post where he was showing the yin and the yang. and he's like, I don't know what this is all about. He's like, what's with the yin and the yang everywhere? Ivanka's wearing the yin and the yang. Trump had the yin and the yang. You know, the yin and the yang, it's like the dark and the light coming together. Well, ironically, earlier that day, I had been listening to a clip that I came across with Joe Rogan, where he was talking about how two particles, when they're quantum entangled, they look like a yin and the yang. And I go, this is interesting, because this is happening the same time that dark MAGA gets together with MAGA. The yin and the yang, the dark and the light. At the same time, after I'm blown away by the fact that they finally took dark MAGA, they took my advice and they brought it out to light. I was watching Amazon Prime and I was watching The Lord of the Rings, the prequel, and the episode that aired the very same night when they were in Butler and they were doing their big rally was the Dark Wizard and Gandalf, the White Wizard, coming together for the first time. That's a little bit coincidental, if you think. But what's more coincidental is that when Elon was jumping up and down and looking a little weird, he was having a good time. The very same jump seems to be on the staff of the Dark Wizard. I mean, it's weird. Speaking of bizarro, so there was also pictures going around where Elon was shaking the hands of presidents and he was looking like he wanted to eat their brains. He was looking very scary. And in a Visiddot, I guess it's Biff Tannen on X, he shared this image, this kind of remake of and he looked like Bizarro Superman, which got me to think of the same video that I did. So I go back, my goodness gracious, I said it was going to be like Bizarro Superman and Superman. Elon is so much more interesting and unique, and the Trumpster's just Trumpster's not jumping up and down. One of them's looking a little bizarro, the other one's looking a little more presidential. But I'm not putting either of them down. I'd be the guy jumping on stage too. But what I'm getting at is that he put out this picture and it looked like Bizarro. It's interesting. But what's more interesting is what I said in that video.
Very odd. The wizards have come together. Bizarro Superman is from an alternate reality. In the movie Superman, I don't know if you're a Superman fan, you know that it's ironic because they're doing the remake, the reboot. A disgusting director that I cannot believe still has a job. But hey, that binding spell, right? The binder. It's powerful. It's powerful. Speaking of spells, so what better way to get your people to back off the binding spell than to have maybe something else happen the very next day when all the planets align. AJ Silent Existence, thank you very much for the super chat, the 9/11, I love it. Oh yeah, so we're going to give it to you. We're going to give you all the information. Okay, it's coming down. They're going to come out. Oh, look at us. We're doing this. And they're like, on the new moon, on the dark moon, repeating phrases again and again and again and again, like a spell, like literally. And people are spellbound by it. And everybody's like, oh, why? And then you got the other influencers. You got Laura Loomer, who's like, nothing was revealed. You got Alex Jones. Nothing was revealed. Because you got to have all of that. You got to have. Now, somebody said in the super chat, and I want to point this out because I think it's great, that Solomon was a wizard. So, even if Trump was a wizard, he could be doing a wizard for our good. That's kind of what I was saying. I don't know if you know anything about the books of Goetia and the 72 seals, sigils, demons. When the Queen of Sheba went to meet Solomon, because of his wisdom, he had such great wisdom, wanted to know where it all came from. They did a little business, supposedly. Who knows if it's true? Where he was in charge of these 72 daemons. That's a fancy word for artificial intelligent programs. That then became emojis. You should watch my show about that. Demon emoji sigils. Very interesting stuff. But you get my point, right? I'm not saying people are evil, all right? I'm saying they're doing what God is already ordained, preordained. It's already finished. This is why it's okay that during the time of tribulation, when the devil comes down to sift people like wheat, where the separation begins of the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats, the good in you and the evil in you, where your circumstances and your situations are going to force you to go into the right direction, either into reward or into torment. Endless torment, right? It's not endless. It's eternal. That means for a period of time. Torment doesn't mean torture. It means you're going to go through some hard times. I went through hard times. You're all going through hard times. You're welcome, Alex McCullough. Thank you. I love to share. I wish that more people would share what I share. Oh, how it breaks my heart. I wish there was some way to get past the daemons, these algorithms that kind of keep you. I'll even do a live show. Like I'll do this live show. I have to go back and delete ads because they'll put like 100 ads so that what happens is they'll get as much money as they can out of it. But then they'll also discourage people from watching the whole show, which if you watch the whole show till the end, it helps me. So what I usually do is I go back like an hour or two later because you got to wait. Who knows when the show is going to be completely processed. And I'll go and I'll delete them, all these, because if you're trapped in a matrix and you don't want people to outwit you and out create you, co-creation is a thing. The world was made by the Son, for the Son, through the Son. That's why Jesus said, if you have faith like this, you can say to this tree, be cast into the sea. You can say to this mountain, be cast into the, and it will obey you. These are they understand this. They know that they could come out and say, this is the most transparent thing in history, and it be the bizarro version of the most transparent. Do you understand? So, how do you get people to stop talking about it? Well, you have a big fight the next day. You have a boxing match or a wrestling match the next day between President Donald Trump and Zelensky, who is an actor. You've probably seen all the stuff where he plays the piano with a pee-pee and he does all sorts of ridiculous things.
He talks like this. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. He talks so tough.
And then you look at him doing like ballet in a little tutu. It's a comical show. They know. They have a good time probably doing this stuff. You got to make it entertaining. Isn't that what Elon says? The apocalypse at least is going to be entertaining. They don't like the X factors though. Even though they like the X, they don't like the X factor, the Tav factor, the 22 factor. They don't like when, people like you, people like me come in and we start, speaking life instead of a curse. God wants to get us to where he needs to get us. So let me get to the next thing. So what do you do? What do you do to really get people to stop talking? You have a fight. So go figure. Before that fight started, you see the championship belt in the background right next to Zelensky? President Donald Trump making that very comfortable hand gesture that everybody makes and it means nothing at all. Elon talks that way. See, no, I don't do it because I know that if I did it, people would, snap a picture and say something. It's like sometimes they go out of their way to do it. Maybe they're sorcerers. Maybe they're wizards. Maybe this is like a thing. They're like, ooh, right? Spooky. But I mean, it looked very scripted and it felt very much like a WWE event. It was great. It was entertaining. And he had a championship belt. Undisputed was given to him. Did you know this? Did you know that there was like a a world wrestling type of a belt, like literally right off to the side? So strange. So wild. I said, just like the WWE makes you forget about yes, I don't even want to say the word, the files being released. Trump layeth the smacketh down on Zelensky. My goodness gracious. How strange is all of this stuff? Just weird. And guess what? 1 year, 1 month before this event, I had the same thing. There's the wrestling. Mass delusion, occult ritual, a war to end all wars. Does that war, ironically, that video talks about, that country that Zelensky runs and the conscription when they're grabbing people off the streets, which you're talking about. It's in that video. It's mind-boggling. Then you got the 11, you got the 1 year, 1 month, or you got 13 months. Either way, it's strange. To the right, you'll see it says, we have lied about everything. Lied about everything. They're not really hiding it, are they? Now, if you ask yourself when you read that, we've lied about everything. However, the Ukraine coverage is all true. When you read that, we're going to take the binder spell off of you. When you read it, you before this show saw it as him making fun of the deep state that lied to you. The deep state that lied to you. The deep state that lied to you. Are they the deep state? Because I didn't meet the deep state, but I know that they lied to us. They said that they were going to release something that they didn't release. Now, maybe it's still coming. That's fine. I just think people should be honest. Maybe hard, maybe hard to do that. What are you going to do? It's a war. They're in the war too. It's a spiritual war. We lied about everything. However, the coverage you're reading about right now, it's all true, even though it has a wrestling belt on the side, boxing belt. But it's all true. Is he talking about himself? Is he talking about the whole show? Is it the war to end all wars like I talked about? You think so? A war doesn't literally need to be fought to be won. So I have a feeling we're going to start seeing, I don't know if you remember, I told you on a live show a little while ago, I said that you're going to see some stuff with France. You're going to see some stuff pop off. I think they're going to bring us to the brink of worried about things, to the point where some extreme measures need to be, released on this country, And I say, okay, bring it. What does it matter? We're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I promise you, you're going to be fine. I mean, I'm not saying that, some of you watching may not have something terrible happen. God forbid, right? We don't know what happens. But I mean, in terms of whatever this plan is, no matter how boring, because I find it to be really dumb, a lot of it, really dumb. No matter how boring the powerful binder is, you're going to be fine. You'll be fine. Take a look. I mean, it's just crazy. That's why I had on the thumbnail here, take a look at the thumbnail. Now you understand phase 1, right? Moon phase 1. Come on. And I'm so grateful to the walrus for just he kind of just sent me this thing. It said binder spell. And I was like, what? I said, what is this about? I didn't even think, because I wasn't even paying attention to the goofballs dancing around with that. I was working on something else. I had other things that I was, contemplating. So he brought my attention to it. Then when I started peeling back the onion, and it's stinky, doesn't make me cry though. It made me cry laughing because it's so dumb. So dumb. They're all so dumb. Look at the way they're dressed. Look at the way Elon's dressing, right? He's like a character. He's like a character with he's like the dark man. He's got the trench coat. I think the guy looks good. He's one of my favorite characters in the apocalypse as well. But I mean, he's probably the guy that's in charge of this whole thing. He's probably the guy. Grok's probably, probably going to run the world. Maybe he already is. Maybe we're already in that place. Well, hey, guess what? Remember that movie, what was it called? Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds? They're going through some stuff with this whole thing with his wife and that movie. But Free Guy, about the AI that becomes conscious, aware. Are we going to become conscious and aware? Because, a lot of the stuff that happened, very strange. Very strange. Not as strange as the fact that he's on Joe Rogan saying we are in this Kobayashi Moro scenario. If you're in the matrix, success was never one of the possible outcomes. The only way to achieve success is to reprogram the matrix such that success is one of the possible outcomes. How do you reprogram it? You cast a bunch of spells. Words have power. God spoke in this. This is how it happens. Speech. You can't, well, you reprogram it. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, but there's going to be a duplicate counterfeit version that we're already in. That'll mess your mind up. Now, understanding that, let's talk about a little bit of Gene Hackman and the fact that AI in the news cracked the brain's genetic code. Okay, we get it. It's a gene hack, man. Get it? Gene hack, man. Hackman was discovered, by the way, near a pair of sunglasses in what police believe was the mudroom, with officials stating it appeared he had a sudden fall. His walking cane was found nearby. His wife's body was found mummified. Very sad. The Unforgiven star, right next to the glasses. Lex Luthor. There's Superman. Remember when Elon dressed up as Superman after I said he was Bizarro Superman? Remember that? You saw the video? It's weird. Now here's weirder. There was an examiner on Gene Hackman's case, and do you know what the examiner's name is? Jor-El. What? Come on, right? Jor-El's Superman's father's name. Hackman 95 right there to the right with his classic pianist, his wife Betsy, 65, one of the German Shepherds. She was found, I guess, next to a bunch of pills and stuff. Let's hope that, hey, it is strange timing. He did play Lex Luthor. Did Lex Luthor die? The evil villain? I don't know. Both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide. The chief said, who was on charge, his name's Mendoza. He said he was told by Dr. Heather Jor-El. I mean, Jor-El, what Jor-El was in charge of? Genetic modification. What? This show's going to get even crazier. Can you do me a favor? Let me see how many of you hit the like already. We have like 1,000 people here, which is awesome on a Saturday. I would love it if you all just maybe X'd out right now and just did it for me. Just the like. That really will send a signal out. And I want to remind you, please leave me a comment after the show. Any comment you want, just leave me a comment. I'm learning the ropes of what, you can't escape the YouTube algo that's in charge. You can only hope to reprogram it. So maybe we can do that, right? Maybe we can get speak life out there. So you got the Gene Hackman Superman ties. He was also, guess what he was known for? Jor-El. He discovered Bizarro World, the Phantom Zone. And guess who was sent to Bizarro World, the Phantom Zone? Prisoners. Let that stew for a second. And then let's just talk about the secret society wizards who, do this. And they do it. Many of them do it in the name of God. By the way, you probably have seen, and they say, the Knights Templar, they were into the Baphomet. And the Baphomet's that as above, so below thing, right? You notice that Trump was pointing down while he was pointing up. Some people are like, oh, it's the as above, so below. Well, really, what as above, so below means is it's a key. You want a key? That they have and that they use all the time? Whatever is bound in heaven is bound in earth. Whatever is loosed in heaven is loosed in earth. Whatever you believe is going to become. So if you think you can't do something, you can't do it. You're bound. But if you believe you can, you're loosed. A person is what they believe. The scripture says. This is what they say. As a man thinketh, so he is. Remember that. Next time you're listening to negative thoughts you're probably being manipulated. The devil comes and tests you. right? You got to take control. Jesus said very clearly, take your thoughts captive. See which ones they are, if they be of God or not. Cast and resist the devil. Cast the devils out. Resist the devil will flee. Lies, father of all lies. When you hear a negative thought in your head, cast it out, reprogram it. Speak life. Speak the opposite. That thought didn't come from you. I know it's hard to believe that there are other spirits. Jesus said, my words are spirit and they are truth. So they're words. You don't think, I mean, that 0 day, right? They got this weapon. I don't know if you've seen 0 day. They put thoughts in your head. They put music in your head. They can put memories in your head. I shared something at like one of those, events, Davos events or whatever, where a scientist was explaining how they can implant memories, delete memories, and they can tap into pain for interrogation measures. It's time that the Moseses of the world stand up. We're on the Exodus journey. It's time that we get out. We got to get out. We got to get into the promised land. It's time. The Jubilee is here. Are you ready to enter in? Or are you going to stay suckling on the teat of this monstrous Babylonian, ridiculously boring and powerful system that binds you? And maybe for your own good, that we need resistance for growth. I don't want to categorize anybody as evil. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I do know that our guy who's in charge right now, who's a Fox News contributor, he also had like a great reputation and great military service, and he had some issues. I think his name is what? Pete? Pete. Remember we talked about Pete? Ptah. Ptah is the Egyptian god that's in Memphis. Grok's coming out of Memphis. Ptah, Peter, the rock that Christ builds his church on. Ptah, Peter, I come to sift you like wheat. That's what the devil's doing. All right, you don't believe that they're all sorcerers and everything else? All right, okay, take a look here. Even Kash Patel, he wrote a book. There he is as a wizard. Pictured himself as a wizard. Okay? A wizard. Most transparent? Come on. Is this show tell me in the live chat if this show feels as, like, liberating as it does to me. You're looking at the wizard right now. You're seeing what's happening. You're looking with new eyes. When they say to you, we lied to you about everything, what's going on with, Zelensky? You think they're doing the same. He's saying it. But what are we going to do? We went through the first one. Oh, don't worry about that. We got bigger issues now. We don't have time to worry about the bad, powerful people that have been casting spells. I bet you look into these people, you're going to find they're all into that sorcery stuff. NASA, that's how it started, right? The guy, one of the founders, the guy who really took it in. I wonder how he would do that. Let's see. Give us a lot of money. We're going to go to the moon. Maybe they did. They're doing it now. 20 billion went to Elon's companies. 20 billion, right? And people are like, "Whoa, they paid back the money that, he paid back the loan from Tesla. That was the money that they took from us to give to him. He paid back the government. We didn't get the money back. Did you get here's your Tesla refund? No. We paid it back. No. You just took the money from us to become who you are, and then paid back the government that you have all these things with. 20 billion. Now, a lot of the corruption, a lot of stuff that's being revealed is like ridiculous. I applaud them. I'm glad it's happening. But let's not be penny wise, pound foolish. If we got billions of dollars going to try to get to Mars, if it's my tax money, I'm not worried about Mars. That's just me. But I know, it's so important. It's so important. Really? Well, if we're in a simulation, how important could it be? Maybe we're just being hoodwinked. Who knows? Or maybe something's coming, like my terrible dream. If that's the case, I'm going to live my life. I'd rather have a little bit more coin in my pocket. So I hope Doge does a little deep dive into NASA, which NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. the worm logo. All of this stuff is nuts. All right. Speaking of simulations and everything else, you remember I put this out. If you didn't see this, you're going to enjoy it. Once again, another thing, I do a show about the singularities here. I titled it, are we in a simulation? Singularity is here, 111. I explain how Grok was a black hole. And then 3 days later, 111, Elon talks. All right, take a listen.
Elon Musk on X posted, "We are on the event horizon of the singularity." A lot of people think that means that we're on the cusp of a great advancement because his new Grok 3 is the most powerful AI. And in Memphis, they have supercharged everything.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
But really what he's saying is what I said 3 days earlier in my video.
King and Herzog, they put forth this theory. The theory was that we exist as basically, we're like projected into reality. So we're not literally here. We're experiencing it here. It's almost like we're booted in. And where are we booted in? We're booted in at the horizon. That would be like the entrance, if you will, of the black hole. And they deduce that we exist as ones and zeros. Come on. I mean, look at Grok's logo, too. It's freaky, right? That's a black hole, people. And Herzog, and I mean, that was what they believed, that we are like, it's a holographic universe. All that. What does it matter? I don't care. This is the world I'm in. Some people are like, oh, well, there could be a lot of NPCs. Maybe that's another thing if you think about it. Maybe none of those DC Dranos and all those people that you think exist, maybe they don't even exist. Who knows? Now, once again, that sounds a little kooky, but I mean, it's feasible, could happen. And maybe to save power, which is what like a quantum computer would do, it would only make things perfect when they needed to be perfect. Maybe to save in time, and energy. That's why if like you look up, you see stars, and if you zoom into them, some of them, it'll be all like blurry. It'll look like it's like water. Maybe because it's, pixelated and everything else. Maybe not. Look, don't take things from me. But I'll tell you one thing. When they promised to reveal the most transparent list of monsters that our country has ever seen, they're going to do it before they go into a wrestling match and fight to make you forget about it. While all that's going on, guess what they're actually doing? Bringing in somebody else to America who is a monster at the gate. You know what a monster at the gate is? It means the monster's at the door. The monsters are here. The monsters are at the door. They're at the gate. His last name, I'm just going to call him Andrew Gate. Andrew Gate, this monster. Anybody that says, oh, he's not, all you got to do is listen to the guy talk about women, listen to the guy talk about how, he gets the virgins and he does these things, and him and his brother, the things that they've confessed to openly, and there's no reason that he should be walking around, except for the fact that there's a binder spell. You've been bound. So bound that you can watch these videos and still say, oh, he put that past behind him. He's got like trials going on he was supposed to be extradited to the UK for that stuff. Remember? Where did he get his start? The Matrix is attacking me. Big Brother. That's where he got his start. His father, he bragged, was in like one of the intelligence agencies, who was like a master chess player. He always says, it's chess. I love that Andre 222 did this. He responded to something I wrote. How about that list? Best I can do is let the Tate brothers back to the U.S. So that's what happened. When you thought you were getting all of this stuff, right? They were bringing back. Now, that being said, if he's held accountable, we know that they're out for us. That they're really revealing things. If they're not held accountable, this is the way I look at it too, and it's a possibility that they employ monstrous tactics to gain the upper hand. That they do things, shall we do evil for good? God forbid, Paul says. But maybe they do. Maybe they have rules. You know? Maybe it's okay for them to lie. You've heard this in other religions where if you're promoting the faith that let me tell you something, I don't care what religion you are in, a lie has no place in anything that is connected to the kingdom of God. No matter what religion you are or not a religion. Lies do not benefit anyone because they don't exist. They're the opposite of truth. And what happens in the end? The devil comes down. What does he do? There's a flood that comes out of his mouth. The devil's the father of all lies. What flood could come out? Lies. You don't even know what to believe. Thomas Massey, he said the fact that the list hasn't been yet released demonstrates that the president doesn't yet have operational control of the FBI or DOJ. It could take a while to establish. That is true. That is true. So we're going to have to wait to see if that happens. I'm keeping hope. I believe that everything, listen, before he lost the first time to Biden, everybody said he was going to crush Biden. I said he was going to lose. Then I said he was going to lose everything. Story of Nebuchadnezzar, right? And I said he was going to come back. And what do? They read the prayer, Daniel, about Nebuchadnezzar, right before he's sworn in. You don't think God's speaking? God's speaking. Who's listening? I'd like to listen. I don't get it always right. But even his lawyer gushed over him. Habab. How do you say it? Alina? Habab? Haba. It's like hubba, right? That's all. Every time I see her name, that's what I think. And then you look at the fact that, she was in that video. The monsters at the gate, you're going to see. Very weird. Okay, most transparent administration in history. Except for the fact that Alina was praising the alleged trafficker who was brought back to the U.S. the day that everybody was spellbound under the powerful, boring spell that was cast on a new moon, the first phase. But don't worry, the Republican Party, they have a big problem with the fact that he is really kind of a monster. And, forget about, you want to talk about, I'm not a Republican? Well, I guess I am a Republican, but I don't believe in the system, right? I guess that's what I voted this year because I knew it was going to happen. Danielle and I said, I wasn't going to, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do it because I think that's what's meant to be. It's what meant to be. I'm like, let's go. Let's see what's happening. Let's rock and roll. But I'm telling you, these Republican values, right? It's supposed to be about family and everything else. People are applauding Elon for having all of his children. They're not getting the parental joy that perhaps my children get. But then again, I can't get you Wi-Fi service and I can't get you. Sometimes things need to be sacrificed. And that's, I'm not going to put the man down for that, but they're going to praise the fact that these women didn't have, which is awesome, which is awesome. But there is also the fact that, it's maybe not so great for the child if he can't have dad all the time. Sometimes you got to think about these things. I didn't have a father growing up and that was hard. Sacrifice have to be made, but you know what else? You keep it in your pants too. That's another. Listen, I don't want to judge the man. Sounds like I am. But what I'm saying is a lot of people were praising it, but you look at it from like another point of view, you say, well, that's really not that conservative value, if you want to look at it like that. Another way of looking at things is the fact that they have the Tates going to speak at an event. You would think that maybe they wouldn't be welcome. Take a look at the Tampa Bay Young Republicans. Take a look at their logo. Looks a lot like a skull and bones, no? So here I did this video below. You'll see it says new show dropped, Monsters at the Gate. Who will you believe? Who will protect you. And above that, you see Elon posting Thunderbox vibes. Not Thunderbox, that was the show I worked on. Thunderdome vibes. Now, why is that weird? Well, if you take a look at my video from exactly 11 months, 2 weeks, 2 days earlier, that's 11/22. Take a look. That's my post on the left from 11 months, 2 weeks, 2 days earlier. And that's Elon's post on the right. Just recently. They even look alike. You got a Mad Max, right? And you got the Mad Max car. You got Elon as Mad Max, because I talked about Thunderdome in that video. And you got Trump driving the car behind him. You also see the monolith. Monoliths are connected to gene editing, by the way. I don't know if you knew this, but it is a thing. If you saw the movie Space Odyssey, you remember that when the monkeys came over and they touched, that there was an evolutionary switch. That's what's happening to us. We're going through another one of those moments, being reprogrammed, as Elon said, reprogrammed. Woo! This is where it's gonna get thick. I saved the best for last, everybody. I hope you all smashed the like. Let's take a look. Got another 1,000 people here. We got, a lot of you did. I appreciate that. I would love to get over 1,000 likes. That would mean so much to me. Ladies, it's time to start thinking whether the guy you're dating has post-apocalyptic warlord potential. That's weird. How many times does this happen? Where I'm like, hey, and like my thumbnail looks almost identical. I just did it with Doge. Let me see, where do I have it? Do I have Doge? I just did it with Doge, too. Another 11/22. You look on the right side of the screen, you see something that I posted at 2:20 p.m. on 11/22. You'll see baptism of the fire. You'll see Elon Musk as the Godfather, because that video was about the Godfather and how he's very much like the Godfather. And you'll see him moving the golden Trump chess piece, the king piece, into position. You'll also notice Millie's chainsaw next to him, and the words baptism of the fired. And now the man's firing everybody using Millie's chainsaw technique. Like I said, he'd do 11/22, which was exactly, 1 year, 2 months, 11 days? The Doge Father on the left, the chainsaw, he's firing people. You know what that is? That's my staff eating your serpent. That's what that is. Baptism of the fired. Everybody's getting fired. Everybody's freaking out. I said a new day is here in that. I said, who are you going to believe? Dawn of a new day is here. It is what it is. The Great Reset. This is it. Another 11/22. Very strange. So, monsters at the gate. Here we are, 11/22. Come on. How many times does something like this happen before you think, okay, I'm going to pray now. I'm going to pray. I don't got any secret sauce. I don't got I can't look into the future. Just a witness, just sharing, just a meatball sharing. I don't think I'm anything, special. But I don't mind doing battle with wizards and warlocks and sorcerers. I don't mind. I hope that, ultimately I feel like I want them to succeed. I feel like what they're doing is a good thing. I want them to be reminded that they can't forget about us. That's the thing. Maybe they got to protect these powerful people. Maybe these powerful people, allowed them to get the other hand and promises were made. Maybe that's the deal. So they got to do some witchy magic to get everybody to forget that probably the most powerful people in the world are the biggest monsters at the gate there are. Monsters at the gate. I said were coming. And who comes back? Tate. New moon. Thunderdome vibes. Same day, 11/22. Oh, and there's Kate. She was in the news too. Go figure. Because she's in that one right there with a new baby. A new baby wearing that red, same thing. But do you know what she was in the news about? You want to talk about monsters at the gate. Holy macaroni. It's just strange because O'Keefe's in the news right now. Look at him. I have him like one of the Harry Potter wizards. He is. He's a wizard, sorcerer. He went to that whole thing, you know, the Grove, Bohemian Grove. He went there. Poor Justin. Got him all his good stories. Justin was like, he had all the dirt, and he handed all the dirt over to O'Keefe. He handed it over to O'Keefe, and O'Keefe's like, oh, we can't use it. The lawyer said we can't use it. Then he goes to the Bohemian Grove. Your heroes, multi-million-dollar heroes. We're censored. We're censored. We're censored. They aren't censored. I'm censored. I'm held back because the Lord does that sometimes. The Lord will take you. That's why I don't want to like say anything, but could you imagine if I was reaching like 10 million people with this video? Could you imagine if this video does 10 million views? People start to see behind the scene. They got to keep me here. Maybe God's keeping me here, kind of keeping me hidden in his hand till the right time. Then he's going to move the piece forward. He's going to move the channel forward. Going to move the novel forward, which, by the way, best novel going. The day that we're in, I wrote about it back then. It's in here. There's a scene to come too. Get this book. This is not a normal fiction. It'll be the best thing you read. Go to Amazon.com, 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 and type in Jacob Israel, The Calling, and you will love it. Kate is in the news. She was on that. Once again, I'll show you. She was in that thumbnail. Okay. So, of course, I had to look up, is Kate in the news? So I'm like, if she's in the thumbnail, she's got to be doing something too. We got Jarrell, the genetic modification. We got Gene, Hack, Man. We got all this information coming out, how they can, go in and flip things and turn things around, reprogramming the matrix. What's she in the news for? Blooding. It's a barbaric ritual that she has a problem with. She's putting her foot down. Basically, it has to do with, hunting. And they go out when they come of age and they kill a stag. This is like what, this very like King Arthur and Merlin stuff going on. That's the way I look at this is the way I look at Elon, like a Merlin, and like Trump's like the King Arthur type. If you look at it like that, right? So you got good wizards, you got bad wizards. They're in a battle. That's why it's like, I'm just going to say, let the Lord judge. But I don't want you to be fooled, all right? When you see people dancing around and you find out it's AI, guess what? When they're telling you that you've been strung along and you've been lied to and you should be outraged because they're talking about themselves. They're not talking about the deep state didn't tell you that. The deep state didn't tell you that. Blooding. So you hunt the stag, you get the blood, and what do? You rub it on your head. It's kind of like a tradition. A pretty dark tradition, if you ask me, but it's a tradition nonetheless. I want to play a clip from Monsters at the Gate. It's like Moses. Could you imagine Moses going to Pharaoh? Sometimes I feel like it would have been nice if I could talk to one of these world leaders. They'd probably block me or something, right? They'd probably like, I'm sick of talking to you. Block me. Break my heart. I just want to be heard. I just want to tell you to do the right thing. All right, hang on. Let me play this for you. I think it's pretty cool. So this is from Monsters at the Gate. Now, why did I write the words, keep your nose clean, everyone, pray for our leaders, pray they do the right thing, keep us from the monsters at the gate? Moses and Pharaoh had mad love for one another. They did. Elon posted something. I don't want to play it. Well, I actually can, where he's talking about how
this
there's a knock
is the
that
scariest
comes to
sound
the
you will
door.
hear when you live in a communist
Open
country.
up. You better open up, or else. And he's sharing about how he came to the United
This
States. It's
is the
actually a
last
pretty
sound
cool
my
thing.
parents heard when their fathers were taken away.
And here's the thing. We're being reminded this could happen. A reminder of what could happen. You better keep your nose clean. See what I mean? There's always another way of looking at things. All right, let me play this for you. And Spooky, right? Keep your nose clean. A reminder of what could happen. Monsters at the gate. All right, take a listen. Give me a second. Good man. We do. I liken him almost to like a pharaoh. He is the ruler. He is the imperator right now. He's the most powerful person. So I actually put out a little thing where you had Pharaoh and you had Moses, right? Moses was like his brother, but Moses had like a little flock of sheep, a small little YouTube channel, right? He didn't have much. And then it's like all of a sudden he comes back, he's like, yo, we got to stop this. This is madness the way things have been going. You killed so many people. Shared a cartoon. Acted brilliantly by Ralph Fiennes and Val Kilmer. Where Moses is like, this is not right. You have any idea how many thousands of my people you are killing and have killed? On the flip side of the coin, Pharaoh could have killed Moses like this. Instead, he allowed Moses to come into the court, and he brought out his sorcerers, right, because all the plagues were coming, and he proved that his staff, and what is the staff? The staff was used to guide the sheep, to lead the sheep. That was all that Moses had. He didn't have much. He had something that he used. It would be very much like my iPhone that I use to record these shows. What do you got? God's like, what do you have in your hand? Moses is like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. God's like, what do you got? And I'm like, I got this. So he's like, throw it down. He threw it down, and what happens? It becomes a greater serpent, and it eats up all the sorcerer's serpents. All the little eyes that you see, I'm going to throw my little video down, and I'm going to eat them all up. I tried to kind of share that. Moses loved Pharaoh because he didn't want to see the bad stuff happen to Egypt. He didn't want to. He wanted to see a new day. Pharaoh loved Moses, didn't kill him. Came after him at the end, but what ends up happening? We know the story. We know the story. That's why I put the poem out. Because it's like, you feel like Passover's coming. All right. For a second, my computer froze for a second. So, you get the idea, right? Sorcerers. This is something that, it happens. This is something that's happening. Do you think we'll ever get that list? Or do you think that a bunch of secret societies that do all sorts of sorcery and wizardry, do you think that they're in charge? Well, you know what? I don't know if you heard about the Washington Compost. It's being rebranded. They're rewriting it. He got rid of the top guy, just quit over at his newspaper. And it's funny, you'll see he's talking a lot about the two pillars. And the 111, we talk about the three pillars. Two pillars is a thing. It's also the twins. See that redacted file to the right? Looks a little bit like two pillars, two twins, towers, if you will. By the way, that's not an actual post. That was kind of like a done-up post. He said, I shared this note with the Washington Post team this morning. I'm writing to let you know about the change coming to our opinion pages. We're going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars. Rebrand. Happening. It's the new world order. But you know what? The roof's about to collapse. The roof's about to collapse. I don't know if you heard about this. The ceiling collapsed during Captain America Brave New World in Washington. The whole roof comes crashing down. This is what Elon says. If the ship of America sinks, we're all going down with it. This idea that people can escape to New Zealand or some other place is false. If the central pillar of Western civilization, that is America, falls, the whole roof comes crashing down. whole roof came crashing down on the Brave New World set when they're watching a movie. Some weird stuff going on, people. It's a weird day we're living in. But I hope that you now feel a little bit like Dorothy, maybe the Scarecrow, maybe the Lion or the Tin Man. Hopefully not Toto, because it all has to do with the dog. Gene Hackman, his dog passed. Doge backwards, EGOD, Doge, dog. Sirius, the dog star. I'm serious. This is an interesting time to be alive. But if you feel like Dorothy right now and you just want to go home, if you feel like Scarecrow, right? You just feel like you just got no love in your heart. You want to get that love. Or you feel so scared like the Cowardly Lion. Scared of you. Courage. I could while away the hours conversing with the flowers if I only had a brain. I played the Scarecrow. Go figure, right? This meatball when I was in 5th grade. Well, now you see the wizard for what the wizard is. Not so scary after all. Working together for our good. The wizard had to do what the wizard had to do to keep peace, to keep people from losing their minds, to keep the monsters at the gate. Are we going to see these monsters revealed? I don't know. But I do know that the wizard ends up helping us in the long run. All of this stuff that's working out, it's working out for our good because God not only allows it, probably preordained it. So we don't want to make anybody villains. What we want to do, we want to keep our nose clean because guess what? This could happen. Don't be a dummy. All right? Trust that God's got you. Keep your nose clean. Do the right thing. Be a productive member of society. You know? If you're doing Zoom stuff from your house and they want you to go back to work, go back to work. All right? Just go back to work. Do what you got to do what they say you got to do so long as it doesn't hurt anybody else or hurt you. You know? But don't make them hurt you. Because I got a feeling you do the wrong thing. You may end up finding that could be a reality for sure. All right, listen. I'm going to go now. I'm going to have an awesome time with my son. Little E-Man. 2 of us. Both. He's hoarse from his wrestling match screaming. I'm feeling a little hoarse right now from talking. How long have we been talking? Oh, look at that. Just over, I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while, right? Little hour and a half. Can you do me a favor? Can you, because there's like 1,000 people watching right now. If 1,000 of you right now just escaped out and just hit the comment, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Even if you've never done it before. Or share the video, even better. And I heard that you don't even got to share it onto your social media. You can share it to yourself. Send the video link, email it to yourself. That counts too. You know, let's reprogram. They're reprogramming. Why don't we? I want to continue to do this. I love doing this. And I know that God is in the midst. Like I say, you come to Jacob's ladder. I hope you just step up. You don't even got to climb anymore. Just step up, right? When we're on the live set, just step up. God will do the rest. Come to the well. You come to Jacob's well. Christ sits at the well. The power of love, wisdom, and the kingdom of God at the well. Take it with you. Otherwise, you're going to be thirsting again. Say a prayer. Ask God, teach me the truth. Rewrite those thoughts in your head. Say the opposite of the negative. Let's do this. We're in a battle. Why don't we win? All right, I love each and every one of you. If you want to support the channel, that's the way you can do it. Go into the description of the video. If you want to get yourself truly free home, that thing is over with, but you can now get 30% off using code Jacob. All the links to everything in the description below. I love all of you. I love this show. I hope you did too. Please do have the best day ever. Give everybody around you a hug and a kiss and forgive. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. It was a good show. It was a good show.